Welcome to The Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly podcast featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from fresh perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 254. Do you like stress? And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to The Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host. I'm here today in 818 Studios with my producer.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Croft. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 254 of The Authentic Spiritual Journey. I know. We just blew past 250. We're just like, no big deal. No biggie.
Yeah, moving on.
Yes, we're a quarter away to 1,000.
It would be fun, though, coming up, to do a big get together to celebrate. I mean, I don't care if it's 275 or 280 by the time we do it. It just seems like we ought to celebrate passing 250.
Yeah, I agree. And another live event would be really cool. And
I've had some requests for that.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we could do a live streaming thing as well.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
I realized I just made a whole bunch of technical work for myself.
Exactly. Well, friends, those of you listening, of course, let us know. Send us an email.
Yep.
Go to the experienceofthesoul.com website or my other site, CynthiaAliceAnderson.com, and let us know. Does that sound like a good idea? But I know at the last one, people had a great time, and
fantastic.
We actually limited it last time because so many of our financial supporters were so important. I mean, without the people supporting us financially, we wouldn't have still been on the air, and we just really wanted to acknowledge.
Yeah, it was our way of honoring them and making a really special moment. And we have the archive of that for that episode, so it was fantastic.
Yeah, right. It was a great show. Wonderful to have a live audience for me. Mm-hmm. It was the best of both worlds for me. Yeah. So, show 254 today, Dave. What are we talking about?
Do you like stress? Do you like stress? I don't know who is going to say, It's, you have that saying that you do, change, I love it, bring it on. Nobody goes, stress, I love it, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Nope, nope. No, but,
maybe. Right, but their behaviors do.
Yeah.
So you could ask it like this. Do you like stress or do you like stress? Because you're acting like you do. Yeah. That's the rest of that phrase. Because you're acting like you do. Because everything most of us do is stressful.
Yeah.
And it's insane the way our world has gotten.
So much of mine is self-inflicted.
Well, that's the point.
I know.
Right?
Like
that's
I just got done, with we did a big curriculum push over in the 52Qs community. And it was like a solid month of stress and like 18 hours in the studio and weekends, blowing weekends. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, I know, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be really fantastic. And I'm super proud of what Shannon and I have done, but it was entirely self-inflicted. Nobody said, do this. And there was nobody forcing me to do those things. But I thought it would be cool. So I did it to myself.
Right. Well, I will tell you why I thought of this title. What we say down south is I'm going to tell on myself. As I was going down the road, I had just done a call, which, it's not even a great idea to talk on the phone in the car. But then at a light, somebody texted me, and I thought it would be a great idea to text them back at that moment. Sitting at a stoplight in downtown Orlando, and I went, okay. I'm going to stop this because not only am I not really sure what cars are around me, I'm not even sure where I'm going right now. It was a moment where I caught myself doing behaviors that clearly are stressful.
Yeah.
And, I recently bought that new truck and I love the truck. Oh my gosh. I'd forgotten what it was like to love what you drive. And when I first got it, I would never even have my phone, or it was like, I'm just going to be in the joy of this, have the sunroof open, the wind going. Well, anybody who knows me well knows I have a very full life. I love doing things with people I love. I love my work, which seems to know no bounds in terms of time or place. So, when you have a job like that, I can't imagine what it would feel like to do like a 9 to 5. It's just so out of my awareness and purview. I don't know what that would feel like. So when life is work and work is life, and I realized that when it happened in the truck that day, okay, how many days in a row have I been like this and not noticed? Right. So it just called me back into awareness. Like, I really do not have to do this. I'm 10 minutes from my house. All of this can wait.
Yeah.
Shannon's
totally called me out. I do this. I will wait until like we're at a stoplight and it's time to turn. That is when I will choose to roll down the window, turn on my turn signal, and take a sip of coffee, like all at the same time.
Exactly.
She's like, Dave, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do all of
Honey,
these
I love you, but what are you doing?
Why are you? I don't know how my brain works sometimes, but that I do that. Yeah, she's
right, exactly. And the whole show, and I've been meaning to talk to you about this, Dave. I'm acting like nobody's listening. I want to change that at the beginning where we say, practical, spiritual, whatever, from diverse perspectives. I want to say from a fresh perspective.
Okay.
Because usually we are quite similar in our perspectives.
Right.
You and I, but it's probably fresh for a lot of people because it's mostly, us sharing our journey, and it is a fresh perspective because frankly, sometimes we're learning it the same week we're teaching it, because as soon as we become more conscious, we want to share that. And really the whole show is about becoming a conscious being. It is applying practical and spiritual teachings to life, whatever your life circumstance, whether you work in the corporate world or you're a teacher or you're retired or you're a man or woman, none of that matters. It's practical teachings, applied to life, and then spiritual teachings applied to life. And so we lift up these certain ways, as a result of our own healing. And, it's amazing because I work with people now on the daily who work in a corporate setting. And, the number one problem they all deal with is stress. That's the number one issue. And what I've noticed is that it starts to manifest physical problems as well as problems in their relationships, problems within themselves. And so I have come to notice so many of the patterns, to be able to name and see the patterns. And when I started seeing some of them in myself, I was like, oh no, let's back it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we are here to become conscious beings. That's the bottom line. And every day is a new opportunity for that. So the title of the show is, do you like stress? Right? Because it seems like you do.
It, right?
Because you sure are acting like it. People often tell me, when I'll say, well, tell me about your self-care, that there's a pause. There's a pause of nothing, of nothingness. And they say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, I say, how many times in a week do you do something you love? Another pause. How many times in a day do you do something you love? And it's a great awareness for how am I letting the pressures of the world, pressures of my job, maybe family and responsibility, take me out of my own process and journey. Now, that said, don't we all have responsibilities? Of course. As I'm doing my work, I'm not always able to do every single self-care thing I love to do. But because every day I'm asking myself in the morning, what is the self-care I need today? I'm much more likely to do it today than I was before I started this process about 6-7 years ago now. So it's like, what is my self-care for today? Because if I keep that in mind, I will tend to do less stressful activities simply because I've started the day with this intention of, how do I take care of myself today? So I've mentioned many times on the show the morning pages. And the first time I heard that term was with a book called The Artist Way, where you wrote pages every day. This is different. This is morning page. This is a page. And you don't even have to write the whole page. Well, we can put it in the show notes so you have a copy of it. But the morning pages is a way to start your day off right. It's a way to set your intention. You know, what's the highest call for my life this morning? What am I grateful for? What are the top 3 tasks the universe is asking me? What is my self-care? And finally, what is my affirmation for today? So there's a way in which we go unconscious when we're just in the world and we're not doing our spiritual work. I hope, is this making sense?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a way in which we go unconscious because, and I have a sister who, she's retired now, but worked in the banking world for over 40 years. Like, her first job was at the bank at 17 and she never left, retired there, from there in her 60s. So I guess that's 50 years. But literally worked her way up to she was a bank manager and then she worked for corporate downtown. But when I would watch her process of stress and work, she lived far away from the city, so would have to commute in on one of those, what do you call them? Like not a tram, but just one of those commuter things that you get on a van or a small bus or whatever. And she told me when she got on that bus at 7 or 7:30 latest and went to the office, she worked all the way on the bus, got to the office, worked all day, and then worked all the way home until about 6 or 6:30 at night, which is 11 hours straight of work. And then she would eat it at her desk during the day. So now, that was not only the expectation, but she felt like that was what she had to do to get ahead. Now, we've all had those feelings, but what I want to tell you is I don't think it's actually the reality. I think we think it is. And so as an entire culture, we've started to work like this, where we work 24/7. When some of the most famous people that are known for their creativity, for their innovation, they say they work about 4 or 5 hours a day, And I'm like, I need to, right?
Oh, yeah, like the 4-hour work week. I'm like,
Yeah, the 4-hour work week.
Yeah, and I get the point of that is, passive income and all that stuff, and go travel and work from your laptop. But
well, and for some people, traveling and working for your laptop would be stressful. That's the other thing, is to think what is stressful for me might not be stressful for you.
Yep.
Like for me, the idea of creating a spreadsheet is hell. And I have a girlfriend who, if she's feeling stressed, making a spreadsheet makes her all happy. Yeah. So do you like stress is the question. Because sometimes when our brain hears a question, it wants to try to answer it. And this is why I formed today's title in the form of a question. Do you like stress? Because this is what I said to myself when I was going down the road and texting or calling, and thought, I swore I would never do this. Right? So, do you like stress? Because you act like it. All right? So, as you're going throughout your day, it's just about getting conscious about what are my behaviors. What are my behaviors? I shared a while back that, part of my morning process is pretty, well, I was going to say it's pretty intensive. I don't mean intensive. My morning process is consistent. It is regular. It is how I'm managing the large number of things I have to do. And a key to that is not falling into what other people think, quote unquote, think. I'm making up a story, what I think they want me to do and be. It's true with my position at the church. It's true in my speaking, teaching, around Orlando and now around the country, the gigs that are presenting themselves. I'm super excited to be in Pennsylvania in May. I've got 2 speaking gigs there, a gig in New York, all within a few days. Is this going to be a great opportunity, for my career? Super excited about all that. But the daily work is what keeps me grounded, is what keeps me focused, and it's what keeps me aware of what matters most. So, sometimes people say, well, I don't have time to do it every day. And I go, yeah, I get it. So life is working really well then. Why are you calling me? Oh, yeah. Sometimes I just have to say it to like snap the person out of a trance. So if life is going so well, why are you talking to me about it? Right? So I'm here to help. Here's an idea. Try it. Try it for 1 week. Try it for 3 weeks. Try it for a month. Try it for 6 months. Commit to something. Commit to something. Because we need a spiritual practice and journey to keep us grounded with all that life is sending right now. Between bad news, stress, and the constant worry of, am I getting sick from COVID? It's made an impact on the human psyche. We think differently now about public places than we ever did before COVID. That's never going away, that idea. Oh my God, do I need a mask? Blah, blah, blah. It's a constant kind of subtext of stress and worry. The school shootings have ratcheted up again. These are all fears. They're they're stressful to think about these things. So in your own personal life, it's incumbent upon you to figure out, how do I walk through life without being a constant stress ball with everything that's going on in the world? So that's why I'm saying these things I'm talking about, the morning pages, the setting your intention, they are practical ways to keep you grounded and out of the fray of, oh my God, the world is, going to hell in a handbasket, which interestingly enough, both Democrats and Republicans are saying right now. Everybody thinks the other side is crazy. And I think there's a third truth, right, that neither of them are saying. So, and in my view, we're people of faith. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm a person of faith. I like some things both parties say, and there's things I want to hear nobody's saying. So, that's my journey. I'm a person of faith first, not a political party. So even that, getting entrenched in an ideology is creating stress for you, guaranteed. Because you say, what the F is wrong with everybody else?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, kind of going on internet forums and call it doom scrolling, especially, recently
doom scrolling,
with, former presidents finding themselves in court and all that kind of stuff. And just one after another, just, bad news after bad news after bad news. Yeah. And I have to be really deliberate about how much time I allow myself to dwell in that space.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's been really interesting for me to watch. I have family members, as they say politically, on both sides of the aisle. And interestingly, since this is up, the Republicans say, it's not witch hunt, but, they're just looking for anything. And I go, well, do you remember the Hillary Clinton emails? So it's a little, what's the word? It's a little, what's the word, Dave? Honestly, I'm not thinking of it. Hypocritical to say, well, you're coming after him. I mean, if the shoe were on the other foot, it would be a bloodbath.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you go back to the first Clinton administration if you want to go there. But
yeah, well, and and I would say, I think they all need to go to jail. So because it's a complete lack of ethics and integrity, all three of them. So I don't believe any office is above the law. And I think that's part of the problem in our entire country. So I don't mind telling anybody, I think they should all be in jail, not just one.
Yeah, I'll take that one since we're here, since I've popped the lid on this can of Pringles.
Oh no,
it's not even necessarily the office above the law. I think it's no amount of wealth or money should
Yes,
place you, because that's ultimately, I think,
that is. They're
the
buying their way
root of
out.
so
Totally.
much of with
Totally.
political. I think it's money in politics, which is
Yep.
usurping like a better good for our society, and it's money in politics, and so it's the same
Ultimately, yeah.
thing. Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, it really is. And of course, what do we see in our culture? I mean, we see it in high levels of business, even low levels of business
Hmm.
all the time. There are lots of backroom deals.
Yep.
I mean, I grew up in backroom deals.
Hmm.
Is the frankly the thing. I loved my dad very, very much, but he, participated in business that wasn't all legal,
Right.
and so I saw lots of backroom deals. And, you know, some say that's how the world works. Others say I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. No, that's not how the world works. So, you know, yeah, I can't believe we talked about this, but talk about stress.
Well, no, it's
This
just, it's because that is such an ever present
It is.
factor. And
It
so,
is.
and I'm my apology. I'm the one who brought it up because I allow that. I dwell on that. I just kind of
Yeah.
chew on it, and I'm
Mm.
welcoming that stress into my space and into my life.
Well, and of course, there's somebody listening that's probably saying, well, how am I not stressed about it? Well, I'm not saying you're not bothered, right? But what I'm saying is when you start so deeply attaching to it, then what ends up happening is that hatred for the other is like the long version. That's what it ends up becoming. Not even hatred for the action, but to the person, and that kind of hatred eats at you. You know, I mean, right. So I think that, this, and it's interesting because the last first Wednesdays, we always have some kind of topic. And the last one was about thoughts and prayers, how people after a school shooting say thoughts and prayers. And what's so interesting is that if people were really thinking and praying, something might be a little different. But they use that term, thoughts and prayers, to abdicate any, responsibility or whatever. So all this said, the concern I have is that with what's going on in the world today, because there is a lot of bad in the world, but frankly, there always has been and there always will be.
Mm.
And what happens is that when we are attaching to what's happening in a negative way, it creates stress, disharmony, sometimes even illness and disease in our lives and in our bodies, right? So the work of becoming conscious about our behaviors, the work of becoming at peace with ourselves by doing our daily spiritual work is the very thing we're all called to do. So I'm not minimizing anything that's going on in the world. I'm not saying you be a Pollyanna. The opposite is true. We know exactly what's going on, but instead of getting into the right, wrong, and I hate you, and I can only say Black Lives Matter, I can never say Police Lives Matter because somehow somebody's going to make up a story that means I don't love Black people. Right, whatever. I don't buy into any of those teachings or ideologies. Right? I don't. And so because it makes an us and them a dynamic, right? So what brings me joy and love and freedom and peace is my daily spiritual work and my love for all involved. Love from the highest place. So I'm trying not to get sucked into a single ideology, even if I agree with a lot of it, because I want to always be able to think for myself. I want to be able to rise above whatever the news cycle is telling me, because what I know is that the news cycle is only spinning a story to scare me and exaggerate whatever the facts might be for ratings, not to bring me joy or peace or harmony or goodness or love. That's never the goal, right? So as a person of faith, my role is to live my best life now. And I do that through my daily spiritual work. I do that through raising an amazing kid. I do that through not participating in all these stressful behaviors. So when crazy does happen, I'm at peace. I'm at home in myself. I can love from a deeper place. I can engage and unfold someone who is hurting at the moment, right? So my ministry over the years has seemed to know no bounds in terms of station in life, in terms of color, in terms of political position. And I've experienced a lot of, what's the word? People have been angry about that. You know, when I was in a church, gay people said I liked blacks more. Blacks said I liked gay people more. When I sat with Rick Scott, said, why would you do that? You know, so I don't care what other people say about what I'm doing. What I know is that I'm guided, and what I know is that I'm bringing love, peace, joy, and energy into these situations where it wasn't there before. Right? So that's my call. That's my work. And I think it's the work of all of us. So, you know, the title today, it may seem like we're getting off track, but I don't think we are at all. I think it's real life application. And friends, it's okay if you don't agree with every word I say. Great. Think for yourself. Great. Have your own thought and role. But I think we have to ask ourselves, how am I contributing to the madness in the world? Right? So this is why we do this work. How am I becoming conscious? How am I becoming aware? How am I becoming the person I'm designed to be? Am I a stress factory taking out the people I love because I can't manage my own feeling reality? Or am I bringing peace, love, joy, and harmony when people are upset because I myself am at peace? Because I myself know what's mine to do. Because I myself am becoming more conscious. So do you like stress? That's the question today. So friends, I wish I could put everything we're doing on the Wednesday nights on the channel. I'm not at that point yet. Eventually I probably will be, but what I talked about today, you got a little taste of the intensity and the passion I have for a higher way to be known in us and in our country, frankly, but not just in our country, in the world. We all seem to be fighting the battle of us and them, and I'm better than you. You know, all of these are aspects of the ego. And I feel like there's always something higher available. There is awareness, there is peace, there is joy, there is love. There is growth among these difficult conversations. There is almost a challenge from the universe. Can you be your good, holy, sweet, open, loving, authentic self in the face of some of the world's challenges? And frankly, that's what we're called to do. That's exactly what we're called to do. So I hope you'll be thinking this week as you go throughout your week, how are my behaviors contributing to my own stress, to the stress of the community I live in at large? Am I creating connections of peace, connections of love and harmony, kindness? What is my guide as I go throughout my day? Is it what the news cycle tells me is true, or is it what I know to be true in my heart and soul? Is it what I know to be true? So my hope for you, friend, is that you'll take a little time every day and get clear. Just take a few deep breaths. Set that intention. Ask the universe, what is mine to do today? What energy do I need to have on board to navigate through life? Making sure you're always touching on the gratitude, making sure you're asking the universe, is there something you're asking of me? And then taking care of yourself, thinking about what are these key things that today I need to take care of myself so I can walk into the world as my best self. So that if somebody in the office says something or I hear something on the news, I don't, lose my center, but in fact, I rise higher than the situation and I can provide love, peace, and joy for all. Yeah. And then am I finally affirming the goodness, the wholeness that I am so that I can go throughout my day and not be stressed. I can go throughout my day and be a person of peace, a person of love, a person, frankly, of spiritual integrity that knows wherever I am, God is, right? Wherever I am, the divine is. And that's the energy, the peace, the joy that I'm going to take with me throughout my day. So my hope, dear friend, is that you don't live in the stress factory that the world says you need to. My hope is that all of us, myself included, and I'll include Dave in this, because we both love our work and work so hard. But my hope is that we'll all go throughout our day remembering, we are God's. We are holy, and our lives are meant to be full of joy, love, peace, and harmony, not stress. So take a moment today to see what's yours to do. And remember, God is with you always. So dear friends, we thank you for listening. As always, we bless you on your spiritual journey. We are honored to support it. Absolutely 100%. And I hope as I go throughout the country in the coming months that I will be able to see you in person. We'll start putting more promotional things on the channel so you're real clear about where I am and where I'm going. But feel free to check my website, CynthiaAliceAnderson.com, for more information. So thanks again for joining us today, dear friends, and blessings on the journey.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2023, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from RR Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.